Of all the offenders, one of the worst was a priest who was at the school for nearly 4 decades, Father Arthur Lavoie. Which one is he? Sure?
This one in the middle.
What do you know about him?
Always hung around with the girls and boys, and always you would start touching you here, and then his hands would fall down and touching you. He was always touching you.
For many, it went a lot further than that. Lavoie groomed his victims, told them the sex he forced on them would ensure their place in heaven. The OPP recorded 313 complaints against Lavoie. He died before he could be charged. Is it credible, is it possible that the people who ran the school did not know that this abuse was going on?
I don't think that that's possible.
Why?
Because there were so many people doing it, and it was so out in the open.
So all of this information the government had for years and yet argued wasn't relevant to compensation claims. In the end, a judge told the government it was and ordered the documents be turned over to the St. Anne survivors. But that didn't end it. The government is still fighting survivors in court today as they demand their claims be reviewed. Some reconciliation, says Charlie Angus.
They've gone to the wall with the most excessive legal arguments to go after such marginalized people who are so clearly in the right, with a government that is so clearly committed to reconciliation, tells me that the dysfunction in Canada about justice for Indigenous people runs really, really, really deep.
The government says 96% of St. Anne's claimants did get some kind of compensation. But it won't say how many of those cases were adjudicated before the OPP documents were turned over. Won't say if the absence of those documents meant some people were denied compensation or at least got less than they were entitled to. The agency responsible for compensation claims told us answering our questions would take too much work.
Mr. Speaker, I want to be very clear with the member that we are not blocking reopening of cases.
Carolyn Bennett inherited the St. Anne's file from her Conservative predecessor. She's on record as saying mistakes were made. So what's she prepared to do to make things right?
Minister Bennett, hi. I'm Julian Finley from the...
After refusing our request for an interview, we caught up with the minister in her constituency.
Can you tell us why it is the government continues to fight these people in court when they are simply trying to get compensation?
Well, as you know, we are not fighting them in court. They have decided to